My name is Nixon Caldwell. I'm 62 years old, and I've spent most of my life being the invisible son in a family of giants. My older brothers became lawyers, surgeons, men who spoke in headlines, while I fixed HVAC systems and disappeared into the silence between Sunday phone calls. After my wife died, my only tether to purpose was my son Felix, bright, kind, and everything I wasn't allowed to be. When he died 3 years ago, they called it an accident. Everyone moved on, everyone except me. I always felt like I didn't belong in this family, and maybe that's why I was the only one who saw what others didn't. It started the day I saw my daughter-in-law toss my granddaughter's baby blanket into the trash. And I realized what was sewn inside. It could blow everything apart. The house looked the same. Off-white siding, chipping at the corners. A plastic pink tricycle left on its side by the porch. Wind chimes, unmoved. I didn't plan to stay long, just drop off the box of toys for Vivian and go. But when I pulled up across the street, I saw her. Marisol, moving fast, a tight bun, a hoodie. She looked around, shoulders tense, then marched to the trash bin at the side of the house. Something green and soft in her hand. She lifted the lid, shoved it deep inside, and slammed it shut. She turned fast. For a second, our eyes almost met, but I ducked down behind the steering wheel. Don't ask questions, don't cause trouble. That's the family rule, isn't it? But rules don't survive grief. They shatter like bones. I waited until she left in her SUV. The garage door rumbled down behind her. 20 minutes later, I was by the bin. I opened the lid slowly, like lifting a casket. There it was, mint green, hand-knitted. My wife had made it for Vivian's birth. Every loop of yarn carried a prayer. I pulled it out. It smelled like baby powder and detergent. But something was off. It was heavier than I remembered. Back at my house, I spread the blanket across the bed. Light hit the yarn. My fingers traced along the seams until I found it. A ridge. I held my breath. Cutting it open felt like surgery. Small scissors, careful hands. Behind the lining, something white. Paper, folded, sealed in a plastic sleeve. I slid it out and read the label. Confidential Genetic Match Report. My knees buckled. I sat on the bed, holding it like it was made of glass. The last time I saw Felix alive, he said something strange. Don't believe everything you see, Dad. I thought he meant grief or religion. I didn't think he meant blood. The report stayed sealed on my kitchen counter. I didn't open it. Not yet. I needed someone else. Someone who wouldn't think I was crazy. Someone who used to chase ghosts for a living. I still don't know why she threw it away. Guilt. Fear. But I know what I felt when I picked it up. Heat. A static hum. Like the truth was waiting to scream. Why the hell would she hide a DNA? Test inside a baby blanket? The envelope sat on the table like a loaded gun. I didn't touch it. Not yet. Truth has weight. You can feel it before you know it. And some truths hit harder than fists. I stared at the label, Confidential Genetic Match Report, until my coffee went cold and the sky turned black. Then I picked up my phone. One number, Jonas Hale, retired detective, once investigated child abductions and internal affairs, kicked out for ethical disagreements. In other words, he gave a damn. He answered on the third ring. Still breathing, Nixon. His voice, rough gravel over tired hope. I need your eyes on something. Better not be your will. Not unless it involves blood. Silence. Bring it over. His place sat on the edge of the city, behind a chain-link fence wrapped in dying ivy. I parked close, engine still humming, like I needed an escape plan ready. Jonas met me at the door in a robe and slippers. Inside, the walls were lined with file boxes and framed headlines. One photo on the mantel showed him shaking hands with a governor. The frame was cracked. I handed him the envelope. He didn't open it right away. He weighed it in his palm. "Whatever's in here," he muttered. "You sure you want to read it?" "No," I said, "but I already saw it in my sleep." He nodded once, slid his knife under the seal. 2 pages. He read them. His face didn't move, just his eyes. They darkened. He handed them to me. Vivian Rivera. Mother, Marisol Rivera. Alleged father, Felix Caldwell. Result, exclusion, 0% match. Additional note, possible genetic parent match not detected for Nixon Caldwell's lineage. My throat closed. Jonas exhaled. "She's not your granddaughter. I laughed. It came out broken. I buried my son 3 years ago. I sat in the front pew. I kissed his forehead in a box. And all this time, I stopped. All this time, I thought I still had a piece of him. Jonas watched me. Blood doesn't build love, but it sure as hell complicates grief. I stood, pacing. Marisol never said anything, never even hinted. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she did and wanted it buried. No, she was scared when she threw that blanket away, like someone might see. Jonas tilted his head. What if it wasn't guilt? What if it was warning? Cut. Later that night, I dug through Felix's old files. Insurance, mortgage, phone logs. One detail blinked like a hazard light. The night he died, he called me at 9:12 p.m. I missed it, but the timestamp mattered. According to the coroner, Felix died around 9:40 p.m. Head trauma, blunt force, stairs. Except Marisol said he fell alone, that she found him minutes later. So who is he calling? And why did I miss the only call that could have saved him? Cut. Next morning, I knocked on Rosa Martinez's door. Old neighbor, babysitter, quiet as rainwater. She answered in a robe, holding a tea towel, and suspicion. Rosa, I need to ask about the night Felix died. She didn't flinch. She just stepped aside. Inside, everything was still beige. Floral curtains, knitted coasters. I remember you came over once to check on the dog. Did you see anyone else that night? Rosa didn't look at me. Then she said, I saw a man. Pause. He left the back porch around 10. I thought it was Felix at first, but the car wasn't his. It was black. No plates. Why didn't you tell anyone? I didn't want trouble. Trouble doesn't knock. It breaks windows. Cut. Back in my car. The DNA test beside me. I called Jonas. Rosa saw someone leave the house. Not Felix. Wrong car. Wrong time. Jonas cursed. Send me the address. I'm pulling surveillance footage from nearby ATMs and traffic lights. Maybe we get a plate. Click. Home again. I sat on the floor beside Vivian's toy chest, stuffed animals, plastic dinosaurs, books she couldn't read yet. Then I saw it. A photo frame. Felix holding Vivian. I picked it up, turned it over. There was handwriting on the back. Don't believe everything you see, Dad. If Vivian isn't his, then who the hell killed my son? I parked 3 blocks away. Windows up, engine off, heart tight. Marisol's house sat quiet under a washed-out sky. The air buzzed with static, like the world was holding its breath. People say the dead speak through silence. I say they scream through patterns. Felix always kept his gloves in the second drawer. He always double-checked the garage lock. He always left his car parked nose in. That night, it was backed in. The garage was unlocked. The gloves were gone. I waited until the street was empty. Then I moved fast. The key still worked. Click. Inside, the house smelled too clean. Bleach sharp in the air, floors too shiny. The way people clean when they're hiding something. I walked straight to the basement door. Marisol always kept it locked. Said it was for Vivian's safety. Maybe it was for hers. I picked the lock with a credit card. A trick Jonas taught me when I lost my spare keys. Nothing's truly locked if someone wants in bad enough. The basement light flickered to life. Cold, concrete, bare, and then metal. A cabinet in the corner. New. Padlocked. I looked up. Camera. Small. Red light blinking. Someone's watching. I grabbed the crowbar Felix used for tire changes, jammed it in. One loud pop. The lock snapped. Inside, a manila folder labeled Caldwell, 1 plastic bag. Inside, Vivian's baby teeth, sealed, labeled, a USB drive, and a second DNA report. I opened the folder. This version said Felix was Vivian's father. 999.99% match. 2 reports, 1 true, 1 fake. Which one had she believed? Footsteps. Upstairs. Fast. I killed the light, flattened behind the shelves. The door creaked. Shadow moved. Someone called out. Low. Measured. Nixon. Marisol. She knew. I stayed quiet. My breath a gunshot in my chest. She stepped closer, boots on wood. You shouldn't be here. I stood. She didn't flinch. Just looked tired. Pale. Her fingers trembled. Who gave you the first report? I found it. Her lips twitched. She glanced at the open cabinet. Saw the bag. The report. The USB. Jonas knows, she asked. I said nothing. She nodded slowly. You need to stop. I'm not stopping until I know what happened to my son. Her jaw clenched. You want to know? Yes. She stepped forward, close enough for me to smell her perfume. Then you'd better be ready for the answer. I stared at her. You faked the results? No. Then who did? She swallowed hard. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Not when someone's holding a knife to your daughter's future. Cut. She left. No threats. No screaming. Just fear. Like something behind her was worse than anything I could imagine. I took the USB and ran. Cut. Back home. Curtains drawn, door locked, gun loaded. Jonas didn't answer my call. I texted. Nothing. I opened the USB on an old laptop with no Wi-Fi, just in case. Files, invoices, bank transfers. One stood out, $72,000 wired from Brandt Biotech Holdings to Marisol Rivera. Date, 4 days after Felix's funeral. Blood money. I leaned back. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. That's when I noticed the kitchen window. Open. I never leave it open. I stood, moved slow. Footprints, muddy, leading inside. Drawer open. The blanket, gone. A burner phone buzzed on the counter. It wasn't mine. I picked it up. Unknown number. Answered. A voice scrambled deep. You're asking the wrong questions. Who is this? Ask her what Felix found before he died. Click. Silence. I turned slowly. The hallway behind me was dark. Something moved. A breath. I didn't come here to die, but someone came here to kill me. I didn't turn on the lights. My house wasn't safe. The window had been opened from the outside. Someone had walked inside, taken the blanket, and left the burner phone like a calling card. I stood in the dark kitchen until my breath steadied. Fear isn't loud. It's quiet. It sits behind your ribs and waits for you to break. I grabbed my jacket, the USB, and the DNA report and walked out the back door. Cut. Jonas's address glowed on my phone as I drove. Every pair of headlights behind me felt too close. Every car that slowed beside mine made my fingers tighten around the wheel. When I turned onto a street, the air had a thickness to it, like heat before thunder. I parked, walked up his steps, knocked. No answer. Jonas. Still nothing. I pushed the door open. Inside, the place was too still. A mug of coffee sat half-finished on the counter. Steam still rose from it. Something was wrong. I stepped forward. A chair was knocked over, paper scattered, a scuff mark dragged across the floor. Too deliberate, too clean. A lesson Jonas used to say echoed in my head. When a room is quiet, listen for the thing that's pretending not to move. My heartbeat became that thing. Then I saw it, a smear of dark red leading toward the hallway. Not a pool, not an accident, a drag. I followed it, bathroom door, slightly open, I pushed it. Inside, nothing, no body, just blood on the edge of the sink, and the shower curtain blown sideways like someone had left in a rush. Someone took him, alive or dead, I didn't know. Cut. On the kitchen table lay Jonas's laptop, unlocked. A message on screen. Brandt Biotech, employee access badge request approved. Below it, an ID photo. Lucas Brandt, a man with a sharp jawline and eyes like cold metal. I searched Jonas's folders. He had surveillance images laid out chronologically. Marisol and Lucas, meeting in parking lots, outside grocery stores, once outside the county courthouse. The last photo made my stomach drop. It was time-stamped 30 minutes ago. Lucas entering Jonas's neighborhood. Cut. I downloaded everything, pocketed the USB, and left. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered, breathing. Nothing else. Then, you're trespassing in a world you don't understand. Click. The world went silent again. Cut. I drove aimlessly until the freeway signs blurred. Then I saw it. The address from the wire transfer files Jonas collected. Brandt Biotech, research campus outskirts of the city. Industrial zone. No houses, no lights except security flood lamps slicing the fog. I pulled into a shadowed corner of the lot and killed the engine. You don't walk into a lion's den without checking how many teeth it has. Felix used to say. He wasn't wrong. I slipped through a gap in the fence, moved along the wall, kept low. At the loading bay door, a single keycard reader blinked green. Jonas's badge was still in my pocket. I swiped it. Door unlocked. Cut. Inside, everything hummed. Air machines, refrigerators, the low drone of generators. The hallway stretched long, metallic. Too bright. Like a hospital built without hope. I moved quietly, checking room numbers. Then, a door half open. I pushed it with my knuckles. Cold air rushed out. Rows of cryo-freezers, stainless steel, blue lights pulsing like heartbeats. Inside, vials. Hundreds. Organized alphabetically. Tagged with coded labels. A notebook lay open on a desk. Inheritance liability. Risk group below it. Caldwell family, Rivera family. Case files cross-referenced with DNA sequences. What the hell is this? I moved to the second freezer. The frost-covered window revealed labels. FR. Sample 1 VR. Sample 2 MR. Sample 7. And then NC. Sample 4. My chest went tight. They had taken my DNA. Without permission. Likely through hospital records. That was illegal. Highly illegal. A federal privacy violation. Biotech companies didn't make mistakes. They made moves. Then I heard voices. Footsteps. I ducked behind the freezer. Lucas Brandt walked in with 2 men. Suits. Gloves. Calm. He spoke into his phone. Caldwell's house was searched. The blanket secured. Jonas is handled. The old man's next. An icy pulse hit my spine. Next. Lucas continued, "We can't risk him running his mouth. If he pushes this, we'll frame him just like we framed Felix. One more fall accident won't raise suspicion." My blood went cold. Felix didn't fall. They pushed him. I covered my mouth to quiet my breathing. One of the men asked, "What about the girl?" Lucas sighed. "She's leverage." The fluorescent light flickered. Their shadows stretched across the floor. I crouched lower. My heart slammed into my ribs. A thought hit me. Sharp. Brutal. If they killed Felix, they'd kill me with less hesitation. The men moved toward the exit. The moment their footsteps faded, I slipped out the back, moving fast, adrenaline burning through me. Cold night air hit my face like a slap. I didn't look back. I didn't breathe. I just ran. I didn't come here to die, but someone came here to kill me. My hands were still shaking when I reached the car. My palms left sweat stains on the steering wheel. Every time I blinked, I saw the freezer. My name. That file. That voice. We'll frame him like we framed Felix. My son didn't fall. They murdered him. And they thought I'd just fade away. They don't know who I used to be. They don't know what I'm willing to become. Cut. I drove blind. Back roads, side streets. Red lights blurred through the windshield. The phone in my pocket buzzed. Unknown number again. I answered. No hello, just static. Then Marisol's voice. Tight. Panicked. "They have Vivian." My grip locked on the wheel. "What do you mean they have her?" "I don't know who. They took her from daycare. Said if I talked, if I ran, she'd disappear. Just like Felix." I pulled over, hard. Tires squealed. My heart punched through my chest. "They said if I didn't deliver you, they'd kill her." I froze. "I'm sorry, Nixon," she whispered. "I didn't know who else to call." Cut. 15 minutes later, we met in a parking garage. Concrete walls. Orange light. Wind slicing through open levels like a blade. She looked hollow. Her face thinner. Lips cracked. "Why Vivian?" I asked. "Because she's leverage," she said. "They needed someone to make me stay silent. They needed you gone." "Who's behind this?" "Lucas is the middleman. He's not the top." I stepped closer. "You told me you didn't have a choice." She nodded slowly. "They used Felix's death to control everything. My bank accounts, my job, my daughter. You took the money." "I had to keep the lights on, Nixon. I thought it would stop if I cooperated. I was wrong." Cut. We went to Rosa's. I didn't tell Marisol I'd already spoken to her. Rosa opened the door a crack. Her eyes widened when she saw Marisol. "Please," I said. They took Vivian. Rosa let us in. The living room smelled like burnt toast and guilt. Rosa sat down, fingers twisting a rosary. "Lucas isn't just biotech," she said. "He funds private genetics firms, quiet ones. They collect data, sell projections. If a family line has high health risk, they tank your insurance. If you've got high-value DNA, inheritance potential, they find a way to monetize it." Marisol blinked. "Like betting on blood." Rosa nodded. "Felix found out. He had access to the facility. Started asking questions. The night he died, I saw Lucas's car. I looked at her. Why didn't you say something? I was afraid. Of what? Of being next. Cut. My phone rang again. Different number. I answered. Distorted voice. You have 30 minutes. Bring the original DNA report. No police, no cameras. Where? The old shipping yard, Dock 9. Click. Silence. I turned to Marisol. Get Rosa somewhere safe. What are you going to do? End. This. Cut. 20 minutes later, I pulled into Dock 9. It looked like hell waiting for a curtain call. Rusting containers stacked 4 stories high. Fog crawling off the water like spilled bleach. Floodlights buzzed overhead, flickering like dying stars. I parked, got out, held the DNA envelope in one hand, Felix's old baseball bat in the other. Hickory, sanded smooth, still marked with the faint scratch. For Dad, 1997. Every step echoed on the metal dock. Then, a figure stepped out between 2 containers. Lucas. He smiled like a man who thought he'd already won. Behind him, 2 men, one with a pistol, the other holding a girl. Vivian. She looked so small in his arms. A pink jacket, her face wet with tears. Let her go, I said. Hand over the envelope, Lucas replied. Cool. You're a stubborn old bastard, Nixon. I'll give you that. Funny, my son used to say the same thing. Right before you killed him. Lucas chuckled. I didn't kill Felix. His curiosity did. I tossed the envelope halfway, slowly, deliberate. Lucas nodded. One man stepped forward to grab it. As he bent down, I moved, fast, bat up, swing hard, crack, gun dropped, man crumpled. Lucas reached for his own weapon, too late. I tackled him into the container. The metal boomed. Vivian screamed. The second man tried to run with her. Marisol appeared behind him, knife in hand, sliced his thigh. He dropped. She grabbed Vivian and ran. Lucas lunged at me, but I swung the bat again. This time, it connected with his jaw. He hit the ground, spitting blood, eyes wide, sirens in the distance. He tried to crawl. You can't stop it, he hissed. I don't need to stop it, I said. Just you. If they want to fight, they picked the wrong father. The arrest was loud. Sirens howled across Dock 9 like wolves calling blood. Lucas didn't fight. He just laughed, spitting red on my shoes as they dragged him off. You stopped me, he grinned, teeth pink. But you can't stop the others. It stuck in my chest, like a splinter you can't reach. Cut. 2 weeks later, the media turned feral. Billionaire biotech heir arrested in genetic fraud scheme. Senate investigation opens into AMC DNA holdings. But all I cared about was Vivian's laughter, finally back in my house, not through a screen or from the other end of a desperate phone call. Marisol stayed at Rosa's for now. Rosa hadn't forgiven her, not fully. Maybe she never would. But pain's not a closed door. It's a hallway, dark, winding, but walkable, one step at a time. Cut. I sat in Felix's room again. The baseball glove still sat by the window, dusty, cracked. I hadn't touched it in years. I picked it up, breathed in. It still smelled like sun and leather and 10-year-old joy. Grief is a shapeshifter. It changes faces, seasons, but it never leaves. You just learn to live beside it without letting it swallow you whole. Cut. Rosa joined me on the back porch that evening. No words for a while, just wind. Then she said, I found something. She handed me a file. It wasn't police evidence. It was a private memo. Felix's handwriting. Half burned, recovered from a backup hard drive she hadn't told anyone about. He'd been planning to whistleblow, not just on Lucas, but on the entire DNA commodification ring. AMC, Virax, GenPath. Names I hadn't even heard before, all laundering data through fabricated donor programs. It was a network. Lucas wasn't the top, not even close. Rosa whispered, this won't end with him. Cut! 3 days later, I visited Felix's grave, alone. The sky felt too clear. Cold sun, no wind. I knelt, fingers brushing dirt from the name carved in stone. You were trying to protect her, I said. And now I will too. There was a lesson buried in all this. Beneath the blood, the betrayal, the lies. The most dangerous secrets aren't the ones locked away. They're the ones hiding in plain sight, because nobody questions a family photo. Nobody tests a baby blanket. Nobody asks if the DNA that built an empire was stolen strand by strand. Cut. Weeks passed. Lucas's trial began. He pled not guilty. Of course he did. But he didn't smile this time, didn't smirk, because the DOJ had the original files, the media had the interviews, and I had the story. I testified. So did Rosa. So did Marisol. We didn't speak like victims. We spoke like people who'd bled and healed and chose to fight again. You don't fix a broken legacy by burying the truth, I told the courtroom. You fix it by facing it, no matter how ugly. Silence after that. Then applause. Not from everyone, but from enough. Cut. 6 months later, a letter arrived. No return address, just a slip of paper, folded once, typed in bold. AMC was just a door. You haven't seen the house yet. I burned it, not out of fear, out of promise, because this time I wouldn't be caught off guard. If they come again, I'll be ready. And I won't be alone, because blood isn't what makes a family. Loyalty does, truth does, sacrifice does. And this family, we've buried one son, rescued one child, and exposed one empire. But we're not done. We're just beginning.